Very, very close to this kicking off. Here we go. It's time to get into draft for the first game of the first quarterfinal of Worlds 2023. The bans are already coming through. It's Renata, Rumble, and Azir banned out by NRG, who are playing on the blue side in game one. Weibo responding by banning out the Xayah and the Jarvan with one ban remaining.
I think one of the biggest factors for this series are going to be changes specifically to the bottom lane. And we were looking at the previous matchup between them. The Senna Tahm Kench emerging for NRG as another really powerful option for them to control that bottom lane is going to be paramount, because Weibo have recently looked their best when they have Weiwei tracking down towards that bottom lane and the bottom lane building a wave to go dive on and then playing off of a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has come from, okay, well, let's try and get Crisp onto something that he's comfortable on, right? We've kind of seen domestically, he hasn't looked as strong as some of the hook champions like the Nautilus and that kind of stuff. He's fallen back towards a Leona and Renata, and I feel like we're probably going to see the Leona come through again now with the Renata taken away.
I love the shout out from Dokla. He said, after the last matchup versus Weibo, I realized my mistake. I'm not playing Ornn again, Mr. Shy. And they go for the Orianna pickup here since Azir is banned by their side. This has been premier pick of the tournament, so no real surprise here. Weibo, though, are going to jump on that bottom lane.
The first thing that stood out to me in NRG's bans was actually that Renata first ban. This pick has been very powerful. It's shown a lot of potential, specifically against Dive. And with Dokla talking about not wanting to be on Ornn duty, I'm curious what sort of aggressive options NRG are going to be going for as we work our way through this draft. But it is a first pick of Aphelios for Light on the side of Weibo.
And we talk about the adaptations we've seen from NRG. This is an adaptation from Weibo. When we look back to the series against Fnatic, it was that Aphelios that became such a big factor in that, trying to trade that back and forth, saying, hey, once Xayah is off the board, Aphelios feels like top dog. So already taking that one, now you've got the Rel as well that you can swap for Weiwei or for Crisp. It feels like Weibo are kind of falling back towards what worked for them against Fnatic. And now we'll have to see if we do get that Senna Tahm Kench as an answer to the Aphelios.
It's been so good for them. It is a classic FBI pick. We've talked to the coaches about it. They're so happy with him being able to inject that into the NRG meta here. And so I'm pretty confident in the double lock-in here.
You love seeing them locked in next to each other. It's pretty dangerous to pick one without the other. Very easy to ban that away in the second half if you don't. So with both sides having locked in potentially their bottom lanes, the Rel still having the flex opportunity. Let's see if Weibo does want to lock in their mid laner here. This Nico was hovered a little bit earlier. If they don't lock in a mid lane pick, there could be more bans targeted towards Xiaohu in the second half of the draft. The timer runs out and the Nico gets locked in.
And Nico is definitely a bit more of an early game and playmaking oriented mid lane pick here than the Orianna, which scales so well in setting up a lot of the teammates. And generally, when you pick the Nico, you're going to want a jungler that is also very aggressive and can make moves off of those Nico setups. So very curious to see here if Weiwei actually ends up holding on to the Rel or if they swap it to bottom.
Yeah, I think it will probably be the Rel going towards Weiwei, but I do agree. I think this is kind of the better pick for Xiaohu. It's like when you think of Xiaohu at his best in the mid lane, it's, hey, I'm going to try and control the pace of my lane and then start to lean into hovering towards top, hovering towards bot. He had some fantastic performances on things like the Tristana over the course of LPL this split, but this has been his traditional style, and I think this is where we're going to see how they can try and play through that strong mid jungle, especially with Orianna on the opposite side. It's not exactly a pick that screams we want to dominate in that mid jungle as a 2v2.
And the Nico is why NRG are banning away this Nocturne, because they're covering for, if the Rel does go over to support, you don't want to have to play against a Nocturne ultimate, turn out the lights, and then Nico basically guaranteed double engage for the side of Weibo.
Exactly, and over on the other side, it's the Vi being banned away. Remember that in the game against G2, where we got to see Palafox on the Nico, Contracts on the Vi, it was these two with a 1-2 punch that were constantly driving plays. They want to keep Contracts off of that one. The Gnar banned away from the Shy here.
And the Gnar is what he played into the Cassante pick, so I was thinking that was a Cassante kind of protection ban there with the Gnar, then Weibo just lock it in themselves early here for the shot.
I am really curious though what we get for Contracts, especially when you look at like Vi off the table, things like the Maokai gone. Maybe it is just a fallback to things like the Sejuani, try and play for this like non-committal engage. But I was gonna say I think Wukong would fit beautifully here. You set up them for super strong team fights. He gets the healing coming through off of things like the Senna, the Orianna ult is easy to set up as well. I think that would work out fantastically, but maybe it's not gonna be the Wukong.
Let's see. The clock has run out. What is the lock-in from the side of NRG? This is really lingering for an extra second.
NRG definitely at their best when Contracts is on a champion capable of making a lot of early plays. And so I actually kind of like this Viego pick. It is a champion that can fight Rift Herald really, really effectively, is very good duelist champion. And we'll see if that's going to be enough for their early game here, because Weibo, they lock it in again. Another range champion for Crisp in the bottom lane. That is now 6 in a row range champions for Weibo on the bottom side. The Melio going to be a big protection with that ultimate.
A big protection with the ultimate and powerful in lane with Aphelios. The amount of range you can get when Aphelios has Calibrum and he's enchanted by the extra range that Melio can offer can turn Aphelios' laning into a really oppressive experience for the opponent.
It's also, you just get to get cheeky with it because you know you're not under much pressure on the opposite side, right? Zen and TK isn't going to go absolutely ham and try and like destroy you when they go for any of these plays. So you kind of get to go, right, I can play back, we can try and get control over this lane a little bit, and then open up the opportunity to try and play through this mid jungle and get the control that we want for Xiaohu in that mid lane.
Another interesting kind of synergy here is that Crisp and Weiwei both will have speed ups available to them, so they can both either use that on each other when Weiwei is going to gain their lane, or later stages they can use it on Xiaohu to make it easier, even easier for this Nico to really get to the back line and get those perfect Nico ultimates. You know, so much mobility here available to the team.
We got some good playmaking power on both sides. You know that NRG is going to be hungry for revenge against Weibo after that first matchup. You know that Weibo wants to keep that momentum rolling and do the exact same thing to the last remaining team from North America that they did when they faced them back in the Swiss stage. I can't wait as we're about to hit the Rift, my friends.
It's going to be an absolute banger. I'm so excited for this series. I think it's one that's been on a lot of people's minds as we're starting to get into it. It's just that it's the non-rational gamers versus the consistently inconsistent. Like,
yeah.
You could not have asked for a more chaotic series between two teams at the World Championship, and I'm so excited to see how it's going to play out.
I think we can guarantee the fans will be entertained either way. Explosive gameplay on the horizon.
All right, let's get to it. We're on the Rift. This is gonna be a good one. I just know it. A reminder to everybody out there as we're waiting to get everything going with the minions not yet spawned. You can connect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive Braum W emote. You've been seeing a lot of players spam those, so make sure to get your own. And we don't have anybody doing anything too peculiar here at level 1 in this first game.
And if we just set the table here in the quarterfinals for both of these teams, for NRG's side, again, they have had doubters all over them every step of the way, every bit of their journey here, and yet they have been able to overcome them. And the entire region is already so proud because this team has really given that hope back to the hopeless. It has given the faithful more pride as well. And now, with their most formidable opponent before them, a Weibo team that has 2 world champions, and Xiaohu that has 3 MSI titles on 2 different roles, might I add, is definitely a very, very scary matchup here, especially considering these Weibo players really know what it takes and have experienced winning an international championship on the stage.
But that's the thing. This was a team that was supposed to be the quote-unquote super team coming into the LPL at the start of the year. You had Karsa that was on this roster as well. They were supposed to be the team to watch that everyone was like, they're going to pop off. They're going to be amazing. But as we already kind of alluded to, they haven't found that consistency yet. They lost series to like the likes of IG and FPX who failed to make it into playoffs. This was a roster that you never really knew what you were going to get, even dropping games to teams like Rare Atom. So I definitely think that this has been a roster that we've expected more from. Now, they have managed to go from 6th to the World Championship, which is a feat in and of itself. But when you look towards, hey, we want to see, Weibo pop off and have a more consistent performance, it's just not there.
And specifically where most people are looking with that is Xiaohu, because
100%.
expecting this team coming in to be him the biggest carry potential as we have that same play. Weiwei bottom.
Weiwei coming in on the Ralph, goes for the flash. Shattering Strike's going to be answered as FBI gets himself back. He and Ignar avoiding the pressure. Crisp gets locked down, but there's not enough firepower to do a whole lot back. NRG staying alive, but it cost the Senna flash.
That was a sick knockup from Ignar, though. Actually, disengaging really well from Weiwei as he tried to set up with the crash down. FBI did have to burn the flash to get away from the Q, but managing to escape that one, maybe should have been a bit more aware of it since it was exactly the play we saw in their first game.
All right, answer back from Contracts on the opposite side. Dokla trying to build his rage at the moment.
Yep, needs to stack that up, wants to be able to have an empowered spell here for this. Hits level 4. Cold and Meek already used here. Contracts coming around now with a harrowed path. Flash, stun, follow-up coming in from Contracts. The Shy trying to get back. He goes unstoppable. They wanted to save a little bit of extra damage. They don't quite have it. Contracts back underneath underneath the tier 1 turret. It will be a 1-for-1 trade. First blood over to NRG. Answer from Weibo.
The Shy just about able to get enough damage down as Contracts goes underneath the tower. Now, he will have to TP back into the lane because the wave isn't in the best of spots, but it's still NRG getting something on the board.
Oh, that was beautiful for NRG to be able to get first blood, but the Shy played it so well with his W holding it. They were really waiting to try and get Contract stun on him, but the Shy held it for so long. He was able to get under the tower, gets the counter kill.
Dokla really sticking around here, trying to maximize what's left of his health bar before he uses his own teleport to come back into the lane.
Well, one of the big things here is that the Shy didn't burn Flash in that last engage, so you have to be very careful as Dokla, as yes, you will try and get back into lane, but your wave is in a bit of an awkward position, and keep an eye on where Weiwei is on the map. I think for Dokla, maybe even just taking the early reset and just trying to get this wave pushed in could work out a little bit better for you, but looks like Weiwei is going to stick around for the chicken spawn.
A lot of deep wards there for Weibo. Raptors warded up, so they will see that Contracts is over here, as Weiwei is kind of sniffing around mid as well.
Yep.
We'll see him move up towards that top side.
Well, back in mid, we haven't been paying a whole lot of attention here so far. You can see about a 1-wave advantage in terms of the farm for Palafox. Both of them still having their teleports ready to use, as that teleport from Dokla is finally going to be used up in the top lane there. He got the phage on the first back.
Yeah, and we did also get to see for a second there the state of the minions as bottom lane is trading here. The state of the minions, it looked like the Shy had more than 4 ranged minions stacked in front of him. If you ever have 4 ranged minions, that is enough DPS to freeze the wave and hold it there. Dokla teleports back with his buy, with full health though. Should be fine, as Weiwei is now clearing down towards the mid lane again.
I think you need Contracts to come up here and break this, though. They don't have the information on exactly what Weiwei's up to, so if this freeze continues to go there, that's a terrible spot for Dokla to be without a flash. So you can already see Contracts kind of like, hey, look, I'll come up in a second, help you break this, and then we can start to lean in towards the rest of the map. And I want to see a little bit from Contracts on trying to play towards the top side as well, because there's not really much setup elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely a slow push back after he's able to kill those off. Contracts is
Oh,
here.
the Shy, he's going in for the Cassante combo underneath the turret. He does manage to pull Dokla underneath that aggro range, but he doesn't do enough damage to fully get the kill. Contracts is up here. Weiwei is coming around too. Dokla still has the Dominus ready to go. They're trying to wait for the all-out to dissipate. Weiwei still moving his way forward. Dokla dives in, ready to go Dominus mode, but not just yet. Contract shows up, goes in for the stun. Only going to find it on Weiwei. The Shy still at 400 HP, but there's no CC left, so NRG's going to back both players away.
Nicely done there by Weibo, even tanking up the stun by Weiwei to make sure that nothing could happen to the Shy. Steadying the Shy back, though, is actually pretty big here. Means they'll have to walk back up to the lane. Dokla can probably crash this wave if he wants to, but actually looks like he's just going to freeze it in a position where it's favorable to him. So at the moment, NRG going tip for tat is a far better situation than what we saw from the last game between these two teams.
All right, as we get the reset here, Xiaohu on his first roam deep into the jungle. Looks like NRG well aware of the roam possibility and the timing from him, though. Not well aware enough.
No.
Contracts does clear out the ward, but they don't know Xiaohu's lines here still.
Yeah, Xiaohu coming around from the side. Prop lost him! He goes for the flash and he finds the engage. Now they're going to finally take out Contracts as Xiaohu set the trap, but he gets the payoff. But can Weiwei get away? The level 5 Rel still trying to escape, and he's reinforced in time. A shockwave coming out from Palafox, and Xiaohu's going to be caught on the back half of the fight. Weiwei's still sticking around as Palafox gets the second kill of the game for NRG. FBI and Ignar still moving forward, but they're too far behind to find anything else. End of the day, it's an even trade, 1-for-1.
And Weibo do end up walking away with the red buff, but because the mid laner is the change for the jungler here, Palafox gets a shove out mid lane. It looks like it might turn into a dragon as well on top for Weibo.
Yeah, Weibo will be able to get the dragon, although NRG are in position. Weiwei's even, our contract, sorry, has even come back out. So Weiwei will be able to get it, but will they back away here? Nah, they're going to be able to walk. But as you say, I think it's a nice, even though Weibo get the dragon, that kind of makes it a little bit more even for, or more interesting on the side of Weibo to go for that play. But it was Weibo trying to punish the fact that Contracts had no flash. So now it's a curious question of can Contracts try and get into the mid lane and punish Xiaohu for the flash that was invested on this play.
All right, so Contracts had found the ward and cleared it out, but Weiwei and Xiaohu know that he's on there and they force the play. Xiaohu goes in. This is going to be critical. We'll have to track that flash that he burned to get onto Contracts.
Yeah.
They knew that he did not have his to answer, and it is going to be the kill answered over, but we'll see if the punishment for the summoner spell is going to actually gain them anything. In the aftermath, of course, both jungle objectives go over to Weibo, the red buff as well as the dragon.
And you can see back in live, it panned over to mid. There was another attempted play coming out from Weiwei in the mid lane, but now Contracts back up top side again, looking for the Shy. Contracts is putting a lot of focus up in this top lane and towards Dokla.
I think they're just trying to do that to be able to gain priority for Rift Heralds, because a Renekton or even a Cassante are not really your win conditions here. It's more about this objective.
Well, we've got Weiwei and Xiaohu both ready to contest this. Palafox coming up, wants to put in some damage. Weiwei's gonna be the target here at the start. FBI firing off the ulti and the Pop Blossom won't get anything. Now Weiwei's gonna flash away, trying to survive. Contract's still in pursuit, but instead he's gonna get locked up. Contract's about to die, but barely hobbling away.
That was so close to NRG falling. Contracts using the flash because he knows the Xiaohu can't try and follow, but he went for that initial fight when you had no control of the mid lane, and Weibo were nearly able to punish.
Oh, both junglers now with no flashes in the aftermath, because Weiwei also had to flash away from Contract's ultimate there. You can feel the tension rising here in just the first game of the quarterfinals.
We're getting a lot of trading back and forth. We're getting a lot of action from both sides. This is the first 10 minutes of the game I wanted to see.
But man, I looked at an Orianna and a Senna and I was like, yeah, we're going to take it easy, nice and breezy, no problems at all. But these teams are going ham, and a huge amount of that is Contracts, who's been trying desperately to get the control that he wants over this mid, over the top side. And at least now, with that push, he should be able to get the Rift Herald.
He did not catch that ward in the back, though, so Weibo have the information, but it looks like they're going to call the Shy back.
They have the information, but they don't have the numbers. Weiwei goes over the wall. He wants to try to contest it. Instead, it's going to be secured. And now Weiwei's stuck in the pit. He has to crash down over the wall to escape, but Dokla's ready to follow him. May have been a bit of an error here from the top side of NRG, but the dominance from Dokla's ready to keep the fight going. Palafox goes in, and Weiwei's trying to go out. Dokla's on pursuit. Palafox won't grab the kill just yet, but Palafox is finally going to get it now. Dokla over the wall. The Shy in the ground. NRG get two.
The North American topside takes the Herald, they take the kills, and they can shove it right in afterwards. They're going to push on top side. They could get a ton of turret plates there.
Ignar needs to be careful, going to be able to back away, but that was just disrespectful. Weiwei going in over the wall, hasn't got a flash, has a dream and a prayer to get back out, and NRG shut that down immediately.
A huge difference here. Contract, such a playmaker. This Viego, so good at fighting the Rift Heralds like we were talking about in Champ Select. And man, Palafox rotating every single time right over. Dokla moving really early. The Shy, as we said, had gone back to base, and so Weiwei is hoping for a little bit of a steal here, but
yeah, back in live, you can see there was a little bit of a scrap in bottom lane, but back to the replay, they were trading back and forth so frequently. It was so close on both sides.
I think the big winner of this, though, is Palafox. 2 kills and the assist for the Orianna. The Dark Seal already picked up. Palafox is getting geared up to take over this game as the Orianna, and the quicker you accelerate towards those 2 items, the more of an impact you're going to have, and especially in these upcoming fights, it feels like NRG are setting themselves up well.
And so much has been said about that duo. Contracts and Palafox actually coming from the same city in California, Redwood City, and their synergy really pairs well with the champions they've chosen in and out of game. The Orianna, such a good facilitator for the Viego, with Contracts rushing the Trinity Force build here. Really going to be very, very powerful combination if they can pull it off.
So my eyes right now are on 2 things. Number 1, Dragon Timer in the top right corner, under 30 seconds. Number 2, Xiaohu's got that flash ready to go on the Nico yet again. Big playmaking potential here from Weibo if they want to fight for this. You can see the Radiant Virtue also purchased up for Weiwei, so a lot of potential, very powerful engage.
And that's what I was going to say. I think actually you need to hold on for a second here as NRG. Don't have the Mythic completed in mid. FBI still doesn't have his first item completed, nor does Ignar. I think with just the damage that you have from Light completing that first item and the Radiant Virtue, you may need to chill, since you can't really get Dokla into this fight. I don't think so with the Shy being able to interrupt if he tries to TP.
Okay. A little bit of trading here from FBI and Ignar. They're just going to try to annoy these guys as much as they can. If they can lay down some meaningful poke, they can scare them away. But that full fight is so scary because of exactly what you're talking about, Dagda. As Dokla up here underneath the tier 1 turret, doesn't want to take the aggro immediately because he doesn't want to risk getting Cassanta'd underneath the turret. You can see the Rift Herald summoned up back over in mid. They just want to grab the guaranteed couple of plates here. That first plate has been damaged enough. The charge is enough to get both of them. And now Palafox will collect that money too.
Yeah, this is huge for NRG. He's going to be able to complete his Mythic after this. They're also going to be able to transfer the bottom lane and mid lane priority into a Dragon take for themselves to even up the count. The question is, What is the counterplay here from Weibo? Weiwei tried to sneak in, but FBI got there early. Saw him trying to get into the brush, so no surprise play for Weibo.
It's actually huge, the fact that they managed to spot him out, although
try again.
maybe just rinse and repeats. I think the fact you managed to get that mid priority with the Rift Herald and also bot is huge, but FBI sneaks it out, spots Weiwei, and NRG, they are playing safe on this bottom side.
Ultra Mega Fire Kick, not going to find a whole lot. They're just trying to get this wave pushed up. FBI falling back. Light does so much damage. He forces out the heal from NRG's side. This Aphelios is getting farmed. The Storm Razor, the 132 CS count. He is going to be frightening once we get into these bigger fights.
And Light has been so big for Weibo at this tournament. Really, really big carry force. Considering the comp that they're running, he has to be this time around. He's going to be the main DPS output.
And I think Light gets overlooked a little bit in the LPL because you have such incredible AD carry star power. But Weiwei wants to try and propel him to stardom, especially if he can get this dive off on bot side. But look at the collapse from NRG.
They're coming down, but remember, the plates have already fallen, and the turret's at about 0 HP. Weibo's just going to commit long enough to guarantee they grab that objective. You can see they got one more plate overall compared to NRG early on, and they want to make sure they're piling up some of this objective gold to try to close that overall economic gap.
But this is where I actually get a bit nervous about the composition we see from NRG, because who's your main engage tool? When you look at how you actually try and start fights that are on your terms, you don't really have the best of people. I think you can look for picks, maybe with contracts, and try and see if you can find to play off a vision in jungle, but actually trying to start a 5v5 in your terms is very difficult, which is perfect for a composition like Weibo that has things like the Rel, like this Nico, that can immediately jump on top of you when they're ready.
Yep, a lot more guaranteed on the side of Weibo. Plus, Weibo have the counter card in the Milio ultimate as well. So if one of those single target stuns is something that catches you, like Contracts or Dokla, then they can get that person out. We did have a lot of single item completions here now coming through for both sides. So that earlier lead from the earlier completions that NRG had, kind of a wash now, as all of the key ones are coming in for Weibo. Xiaohu especially with that Proto Belt on the Nico and Flash available and level 11 for rank 2 ultimate. Could be looking to make a big Nico play, roam up to the rest of the team.
Big story being told here in a MasterCard Lane Economy snapshot. The overall gold advantage is NRG's, but light on the side of Weibo. This is the X factor. This is the guy that they got to play around. He's got to be the carry, like you guys were talking about earlier. Currently having some very ferocious team fighting weapons in the two guns with the purple and the blue. AoE, CC, incredibly daunting considering the other engaged power the team already has on top of it. NRG needs to play safe if they want to try to contest Weibo in a big fight. Weibo is grouped up.
Ooh, try to see if they can get the Tango Barbs, but not quite able to do so. And Light has always been someone that you can rely on. In LNG, back with Iwandi, this was a guy that if you gave resources to, he would carry a game. And Weibo, kind of realizing that coming in towards their playoffs and in towards Worlds as well, is like, we want to try and play around bot side, get our AD carry fed, and see if he can just lend us the victory that we're so hoping for.
And even though the camera was not down on bottom side that often in this game, they played how you're supposed to play the double range matchup super well. Play for those turret plates and get that value out of the draft here for them. So really nicely done. Really has turned into a rich Light.
Oh boy, Xiaohu has to flash away there. If that Spectral Maw hits, you know they're going to follow it up and just immediately burst him down.
Massive window for NRG. No flash on this Nico for a Rift Herald fight is exactly what you want, which is why NRG immediately feel confident to start this up. They take the Nico's health bar flash and they're going to be good to go.
But it looks like Weiwei does not want to let it go. A TP's coming in. Weibo ready to contest. Herald's down low, still has the eyeball opened here. NRG backing away. They know how powerful the AoE engage is. Coming out from Weibo, but instead it's going to be secured by NRG. Contracts moves in, picks up the eye. NRG now backing away as Weibo looks for any opportunity to maybe catch somebody on the back end. The objective goes to NRG.
It was 11 HP. I actually feel for you, Weiwei. I've been there. He tries to Q smite, and he's really close on the calculations, but 11 HP off. Contracts is able to get it. Weibo still get mid tower, though.
Yeah, they will be able to force NRG out towards that top side, but it will be answered if you look towards Palafox on that top end as well. So at least going tit for tat still when it comes towards towers, and having that Rift Herald now to break up a mid lane turret is going to make it way easier for NRG to try and play for that pick style we were talking about. Play off of the vision they can establish on this top end and make sure Palafox is always safe when he's trying to push in. Orianna's not a champion that does well in the side lane if she's going to be troubled, but that's what NRG are going to be able to shut down.
And there's a lead in tempo for NRG because Palafox pushed in top side, so the rest of the team can go mid with Rift Herald and try and get 2 towers out of it, then rotate down to the Dragon that's about to spawn now. Nice chain of events here for NRG, trying to use the momentum that they have with their presence on the map, constantly pushing in these waves in order to set up for the next objective.
The Dragons are 1-1 here across the first 2, so no early stacking advantage for either side. Also a Chemtech Rift, generally considered lower value in most situations, so it's not going to have the same amount of pressure it would for something like a Hextech or an Infernal. It's Dokla and FBI clearing the waves back in mid. 19 minutes into the game, so Baron's not up yet, but as we move forward a few more minutes into this game, a big team fight win could spell something very calamitous.
Weibo are going to abandon Dragon. You can see where Xiaohu was. He reset super late. So instead, they're just trying to go for 2 turrets. Maybe on the top side, they'll definitely get 1. You can see the reset starting to come through from NRG to try and answer this. But as you just said, Flowers, this is kind of Weibo going, right, we don't care about a second Chem Dragon going over. We want to set up that vision for the Baron that's going to come up and see if we can try and play for that 5v5 in these choke points around the Baron area.
Yeah, Weibo doing a good job here, just brute forcing this tier 2 turret. They got a 4-man play in the top side. Dokla's already at half HP. FBI and Ignar are ready to back him up now, while Palafox split pushes on the bottom side of the map, taking out the tier 1. Weibo really want this tier 2 turret, but it's a 4v4 now. Dokla at half HP means NRG's making the call to back off. They don't want to throw the game for this. So Weibo is going to take the big cash prize for the tier 2.
Yeah, it's a smart push by them, trying to get both towers. In giving up that kind of low-value Dragon you're talking about there, Flowers. Let's see about the chase here for NRG, though. They want to interrupt the recalls.
Yeah, Dokla going in, tries to stun up the Shy. Nice use of that Pathmaker to just walk it off. Not even concerned. Breath of Life not required. Weibo, just walk away.
I'm curious how far NRG want to chase, though. If they can keep Weibo from resetting, maybe they can actually look for something in this jungle, but I don't know if they want to chase this far. FBI finds the Shy.
Yeah, does a little bit of damage to him, but looks like those recalls are still going to fire off on Weibo's side. Contracts jumps in, but unfortunately for him, only a clone of the Nico. The real one is down there in the bottom lane looking for a reset of his own, as NRG have control over the top side river to establish some vision.
And usually you'd be like, okay, if NRG can try and find these moments where they push Weibo back, maybe they can turn over towards a Baron, but when you look at this composition that NRG has, there's just no real Baron damage. Like, Senna isn't great at taking it. You look towards Orianna, she's going to be very slow, so it means that for NRG, you have to find a fight, you have to find these picks before you turn over towards these objectives.
Step 1 in that, getting control of the minion wave mid here. NRG pushing in. They've got wards on both sides.
Oh, the attempted shockwave, but the flash out from Light is good. Now Ignar has to flash himself to escape the counterpunch from Weibo. Palafox saw the opportunity for the pick. He saw the moment to grab that valuable target, but Light's reaction time was fast enough.
It's still a valuable summoner, though, especially when you look towards things like Baron and Dragon. If you have that opportunity as Palafox to play to zone Light away from these team fights, it's actually going to work out fantastically for you, and it's something that Weibo punished very effectively in their last series. Now NRG have the opportunity to do so as well.
It might be the most important one on the opponent team, as Ignar wants to follow up on him, but Ignar doesn't have a flash either.
This top Kench could be in a whole lot of trouble. They're going to burst him down. Big Stand only keeps him alive for an extra second. Xiaohu's into the back. They stun up Palafox. He tries to get some damage back, but it ain't going to work. The Shy goes all out, and Palafox is his next target. FBI and Dokla's trying to get away, but it's a shutdown over the Shy. Weibo just got 2, and Baron's on the menu.
Yeah, they're going to go right over and try and bait in NRG. Contracts is still alive, but he has no ult and no flash, so he would have to walk around the front. Weibo!
This is the turning point. Weibo found their moment. NRG are going to need a big play to try to triumph here. Dokla's here on the front line, popping the dominance. Needs to try to stop these guys a little bit better. Contracts wanted to go in, but Baron's still at 3K. Dokla falling back. Stun from FBI, back on the Weiwei. Xiaohu is low, but Dokla's lower. Contracts still in a position here in the bot side of the river. Weibo will not get the Baron in 3v5. NRG, fight him off.
FBI needs to be careful, though. As long as you can keep them pushed back, you can go for the Baron yourself. NRG, they're TPing in. They might have just found the Baron themselves.
They're going to go for it. DPS check right now.
Let's see if they can burn it down in time. Weibo, they still have full health on Light, but it's the Shy and Weiwei who don't have a lot to work with. NRG burning the Baron low. Weibo backs off. NRG are going to find themselves a Baron. Weiwei having to fully disengage as Dokla goes over the wall. The big purple worm goes to the North American squad.
Huge clutch plays on the world stage here. This is what North America has been missing. Under pressure, they do not fold. NRG stop Weibo's Baron. They poke them off with a 3v5 scenario as we go into the replay to watch the beginning of why we had to fight them off a 3v5 Baron.
I like the idea from NRG to try and find the pick, but without the vision clearing down behind you and not even knowing if you're walking across vision, it gives Weibo this opportunity. The scramble from NRG is great though, using that blast cone to get FBI, going a completely separate way to Palafox, but that's exactly the feeling that I think a lot of NA fans are having. But the fact they managed to then come back, play on the knife's edge and push Weibo away, secures so much for NRG.
So good for them. Poking around. You used the word annoying before to describe the Senna pick, and FBI has been so good at exactly that. Outside the Baron, he's healing up Dokla as Dokla's trying to play on the edge there and harassing them off of the Baron. They get it done. Now, what can they do with the buff?
I'm looking at this next Drake. They've already got 2. We'll see if Weibo can come around and try to answer these guys. They take control over the bottom side. River as NRG are forced back with a 4-man squad. Dokla's separated off to the side. No pincer opportunity here just yet as Weibo retreat back into the mid lane.
There's a massive lack of vision for Weibo on that bottom side though, which is why Dokla is able to play around this tower and that bot side jungle incredibly well.
And NRG, they're going to have to keep track of Xiaohu. Xiaohu has the flash on the Nico available and the proto belt. That is the big point man for Weibo right now. They want him to start it out, and Weiwei would be able to follow up that fight for the big AoE combination.
All right, Weibo's starting up the Drake. They are the ones to dare NRG to come and answer. Weibo know that they have the better engaged tools, the better mechanisms. The Drake is already taken, tied up 2-2 now. NRG have no answer, and Weibo get out.
They need to try and get this mid lane tower if they want to get anything. You can see the resets going for Weibo on this bottom side, so it will be a trade Weibo of their tier 2 mid, I believe, for this, although they are trying to wrap around. I don't know if Weibo are in a position to contest NRG on this.
Weibo still have such incredibly powerful engage. That's what NRG's got to be conscious of. That's what they got to look out for. Even with this Baron, one big wombo combo with a Rel and an Eco put together could spell doom, and NRG are playing it slow.
Yeah, NRG really have to respect the extra distance of the flashes here. Try and play that kite back team fight.
I think it's also NRG not actually establishing side waves as much as they'd like to for that Dragon. No push on top, only having Dokla being able to push bot occasionally means that they weren't really able to establish themselves very quickly. So they do get mid lane turret. That should be the last one though, as this Red Bull Barn power play is about to end.
The poise on stage here for NRG, the calm siege at the tower. They land the snare onto Xiaohu, they respect the flash possibility. Contracts though, getting a little bit extra greedy here, trying to counter jungle everything.
Yeah, wants to get away from Xiaohu. He will manage his escape. But I do have to still say, we've been praising NRG. They had a very good Baron turnaround after a mistake, after Weibo punished them. But the reality is, they're still only a little bit over 2,000 gold ahead, and they're up against a team with much more capable team fight tools. Do not count Weibo out of this. One big fight, and this game gets slammed on its head.
And this is where I think you need to try and work together as NRG to establish the vision you need. Like, push mid as a group. Put the vision on bot side, play for the bot side tier 2. If you start to skip these steps, or maybe you try to catch out on a play like Glide again, that could be the play that comes back to bite you.
And although NRG don't have the same initiation tools, they do have a very, very strong kite back team fight, as I'm trying to highlight, with the Orianna, with the Senna, and with the Tahm Kench. Mainly the bottom half of their map. Those picks for the draft really meant to give them this security as long as they're able to track the enemy initiators and they don't fall prey to the giant AoE dream combo that Weibo are trying to set up. But again, there's so much tension on that line because one successful initiation from Weibo that does get the Nico into the Rel combination, allow Light to just blow them all up, is all that Weibo need.
And that's why NRG, you have to try and play for burning flashes on Light, burning flashes on Xiaohu, preventing that opportunity to come through. Even things like the rapid fire cannon that's about to be completed for FBI is going to make that 10 times easier in the coming fights.
We're talking about completed items. Light has just completed his third one, the Bloodthirster online. This pretty much demands you must kill him instantly or the Aphelios is going to win this fight for Weibo. There's a lot of pressure on Light's shoulders. There's a lot of pressure on everybody else to protect the president. Make sure this guy is allowed to DPS, and you should be in a great spot to win a team fight.
I like how NRG are playing this slow, though. It's, hey, look, we want to get mid-wave as a group. Get it pushed underneath the enemy tower. As soon as we see Light and Crisp on mid-wave, then we can start to establish that deep vision. But at the moment, you can see the second Weibo disappear off this mid-wave, you have to back away because you're so vulnerable to that combo we were talking about.
Exactly. And from the side of NRG, if you're talking about DPS, there's about to be a death cap on Palafox. So they want to buy time for him to be able to get there.
Oh, FBI getting away from the Shattering Strike. Weiwei tried to predict him running off to the left, but FBI just kept running straight back down mid to escape from that one. Weibo taking a very low-risk opportunity there to try to catch out a valuable target of energy. Doesn't pay off, but it does buy them control over the top side river. The Baron is respawning in under 10 seconds, and it's Weibo who are going to sweep out all this vision, have control, and force NRG to come check into them.
But that's the thing, when you're trying to take back this vision, that's the most dangerous point for NRG. Don't know where Xiaohu is. No vision on the rail. Flashes on both these. You can see Xiaohu trying to play off knowing that fact. Find these angles of attack for NRG, and immediately NRG have to cede all the control they just got in pushing forward and getting that vision established on the top side. Contracts playing very far forward, knowing he does have that ultimate to get out if he needs it.
Yep. A Heartbreaker, very, very powerful for being able to buffer through CCs even when they hit you. But now it's a very dark map in the top side of the river for NRG. And Weibo, again, with control over the Baron Pit, they're going to start this one up.
Yeah, exactly. They want to force before Palafox gets his death cap. They really are trying to force the team fight before they have to fight into that.
Well, Ignar's going to lead the way. Face checking into the brushes for NRG's side. They're going to continue marching forward here. Nico Stun's not going to hit anybody. DPS still on the Baron, but very slowly. 6,000 HP left on the objective. NRG still approaching. Dokla coming over now. The Shy looking to approach from behind. Weibo, we're going in for the engage. They want the collapse. Weiwei's going to find one target, but it's only Contracts. Pop Blossom hits nobody. Contracts in the stasis, keeping himself alive as the Shy is now isolated from everybody else. But it's Dokla singing the same song. FBI fires off the ulti as the Croc tries to run, but the Shy's on the hunt. Dokla's low, and he flashes away from the third hit of the Intofo strikes. Ignore looking to come back in as Palafox guns the Shy down. Contracts again looking to play the edge, skirt the absolute limits of the fight. FBI throws up another stun, but the fight is settled. Only the Shy dies.
That is exactly what a successful kite back team fight looks. NRG, they scramble and they split so that oh, never mind. We're going to look for another one.
Ignar throwing out the tongue lash. Xiaohu in danger. Palafox throws out the ball. Weiwei is low. A lot of damage under Xiaohu, but instead it's going to be Ignar killed off. A massive amount of damage coming out from Light. He won't get the snipe, and Xiaohu falls. A one-for-one trade on the back end, but now Palafox may be in danger. Weiwei trying to trade with him as Palafox continues his retreat. The rest of the team coming up to reinforce as Light is still a force to be reckoned with. Weibo maintain control over the top side
They're
river.
desperate.
And
They're desperate.
Begin the Baron.
Palafox did TP back in with his death cap, so he's going to stick around. FBI going to do the same. They're waiting for Dokla. There's the TP. Time to get Weibo.
Everybody's back in. Crisp is down to 20% HP. The Shy jumps. He goes after FBI, and the Senna has been isolated and brought down. Dokla goes into the pit, but Weibo has the Baron. Dokla wants to clean him up, but he ain't going to find anybody and has to dice back over the wall. Weibo with a massive dub.
The shockwave couldn't get on towards Light in the back of the pit. Palafox only hits onto Weiwei, and Weibo back and forth, fist fighting that whole time, finally come out with purple fits on their hands.
Huge turn there for Weibo. They show no fear in such a tense situation. Into the back of the Baron Pit. They grab it. The Shy went right at FBI. Takes down one of the most annoying champions, one of the biggest threats on that team. Let's take another look at it. Crisp takes a big combo as he's cutting outside, but then FBI gets taken out because Light was also able to snipe him with a green gun right before this and then still get the Baron along with Weiwei. So they've already taken out the Senna. They have the numbers advantage. Even with the extra death cap there on Palafox and him, him arriving, Weibo get everyone out. They got the objective. This game is delivering so well back and forth.
The fact that the Shy did such a good job of preventing Palafox from entering the pit, catching Light with that shockwave, was the difference maker at the end. And now Weibo, Red Bull Baron power play in operation. They've got that third dragon for themselves as well, and now they're going to be the ones that are in position to go, cool lads, let's start to push in, let's start to get the vision that we want, let's make NRG play into the darkness and into our hands.
It is a dangerous, dangerous highway when Weibo is in the driver's seat. This composition is absolutely merciless when they get to play the team fight the way they want to play it. Immediately after the Baron, while we were watching the replay, they got the Drake. They're now on Soul Point. If they can manage to control the Rift for the next 4.5 minutes, get that, that's going to be another huge power spike here for them, and things are becoming more and more difficult for NRG to deal with these guys. As a TP is summoned up mid lane, that's going to guarantee that Weibo can force down the tier 2 turret.
Light is so massive on this Aphelios with double summoners plus the Melio though to protect him. Weibo, the onslaught, they're inside the base.
They managed to crack the first inhibitor turret. They will not overforce and go after the inhibitor itself, instead rotating down to the bottom lane where the Shy already has the next wave prepped. They're going to break their second inhibitor turret as Light applies the DPS to the mid lane inhib. Now they got to be careful on NRG's side. There's threats in so many places. The Shy's going to get jumped on by 2, but the mid lane inhib is still being taken down. First inhib falls, and the Shy is again fearless back in the bottom lane. Contracts goes back into the fountain to heal up and shop, but Weibo can still keep this pressure going. Contracts and the rest of NRG, are they even going to make a stand? Bottom lane inhibitor falls. Baron's still up for another 15 seconds. Weibo are not stopping. NRG have to try to hold this line, and it looks like they may be able to clear out the minions. Contract with the defensive ulti. Dokla loses Sterix. Light's damage is absolutely brutal.
This train is keep on chugging for Weibo, and Light wants to hit them like a truck. Can he get in here?
Contracts taking a lot of DPS. He's got to back away. The minion wave finally thinned out as the Baron dissipates, but Weibo have done incredible damage to the base of NRG.
All right, they finally get the reset. 2 inhibitors down. Weibo have done so much damage here. Now all they have to do is return to that top side. They've got the extra pressure. They can get that reset off. I mean, Light is closing in here really quickly. He's already got the makings of his armor penetration. Pretty soon it will transform, and this is going to be painful. He's already level 16 as well.
I think for NRG, you need to start getting creative. You need to start getting some deep wars, and maybe you can look for a TP flank with Dokla as the rest of Weibo push in on top side. Try to find different angles of attack, because in a front to back, with that Lord Dominic's completed, it's going to be an absolute bloody disaster for NRG.
Yeah, there's just no way you're going to win a front to back against this Aphelios. The dude's 5.5 items. This is not a good situation for NRG to be in, and Weibo has managed to outfight the deficits they were at earlier on in the game to get to this point. We are now less than 2 minutes away from that soul fight at the Drake, and if Weibo are the ones to control the area, if Weibo are the ones to dare NRG to come answer them, I have to think that NRG is going to have a hard time doing it.
Yeah, because NRG, they have to deal with 2 waves of super minions and no wards through their jungle. So it's so difficult for them to make moves on the map here. Weibo just keep returning, clearing out any sort of semblance of vision that they have.
Little bit of damage there onto Weiwei. Uses the crash down to get himself away from it, so NRG don't really have a real shot at making any meaningful pick there. Under 1.5 minutes now until the Drake. Weibo just putting pressure on that last remaining lane that isn't already being suffocated by the super minions.
Yeah, I think it's just try and control top side, wait for Baron. If NRG have to try and face check into the Baron area blind, it's going to be such a disaster. So you can see now Weibo going for the resets. They want to start pushing in waves, getting the vision that they need on this top side, and making sure that NRG can't really contest them.
45 seconds till the Baron, 50 seconds until the Drake. Having both objectives up at the same time can be a big, big problem if you're the team that's not on Soul Point, because it allows the enemy team to have so much opportunity to just force you into a losing play.
Now that NRG have double Guardian Angels on their front line in Dokla and Contracts, they can actually play the fight a little bit differently and full sending those 2 right into the center to try and get a good shockwave with. Either of them can try and deliver that Orianna ball to Light to burn the flash in first and then try and kill him.
I mean, Contracts trying to do just that. I think you need the LDR completed though here for FBI. I don't think he's going to be able to finish it just before this next fight. And when you look at the amount of armor that is sitting on the Shy right now,
Yeah.
there's no real way that you're going to be able to get through the Shy unless you get that item.
And the Shy's itemization is beautiful. He's just stacking pure armor. He knows the only AP threat is the Orianna, and if Orianna's trying to burst down Cassante, there's not enough damage threat onto the rest of Weibo to actually win NRG a fight. The Shy is a monster. When he walks at you, you have no choice but to back away. Light's gonna be found and stunned up by Dokla, but Light just wins these. He pops the Sterix from the enemy top laner. Dokla just hard loses that fight. The Shy not in anywhere near as bad a shape after he goes in and trades with the enemy team. Baron started up by Weibo.
Reset coming through for Dokla. They're going to try and TP him back in. Looks like NRG have said, look, we can't really take this fight. Let's just try and take the dragon so we have something. Baron goes across, and I mean, to Weibo, how far do you want to push this?
Well, Weibo are just walking down mid lane, it looks like. Remember, they're the ones who have the empowered recall. It's not Energies. The Dragon's going to be slain, but Weibo's just running straight down mid. They're summoning up the TP. Palafox and Dokla want to try to stop him. The Shy's reinforcing. The Demolish proc ready to go. First Nexus Turret is already almost down. Xiaohu takes it out. Now they go in after Palafox. As Weiwei won't be able to 100 to 0, but instead it's going to be Nexus Turret's dying. The full engage comes out.
The shockwave!
Ulti over the top keeps him alive. Ignor's still standing, but he backs away. Xiaohu somehow staying alive as Light kills Contract. NRG will fall, and Weibo are the ones to knock him down. All five still alive. The LPL takes game one.
Light, deathless on the Aphelios. Those Emilio warm hugs, keeping him warm at night. Never goes down, is enough for Weibo to finish it. They get the Baron, they rush for the Nexus.